Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and I just want to take a moment to share my thoughts on Neil Gorsuch so far, now that I've had 24 hours to kind of process everybody's perspectives on both sides about this appointment. And for the most part, I think I've heard more good than bad. Now, just to kind of describe the last 24 hours to you. 20 minutes after Donald Trump makes his announcement that Neil Gorsuch is his appointment, I get emails from sort of a left-wing mailing list already kind of staking the ground that the left wants to stake on Neil Gorsuch. And that is mainly on the grounds of civil rights and corporate personhood. And when they say civil rights, they're really pointing specifically to the Hobby Lobby case. Now, if you're not familiar with what the Hobby Lobby case was, what happened is that in Obamacare, one of the mandates within Obamacare was that the health insurance coverage that you provide your employees must include contraceptive coverage. Okay, now Hobby Lobby already allowed people to opt in and pay for contraceptive coverage if they wanted it. But this mandated it, and I think that's sort of where Hobby Lobby then took offense and then took the lawsuit to take the case. Because there's a difference between forcing somebody to purchase something, and then if it follows with their values or not. So again, I'm pretty sure that even before Obamacare, people at Hobby Lobby could get contraceptive coverage with their plans. It wasn't until after Obamacare that it became an issue. Okay, the issue was again that they were forcing them to include it in all plans. And I mean, my healthcare plan, because of Obamacare, covers contraceptive coverage. I don't personally need birth control, but part of the way Obamacare worked is that they say if everybody pays for things like child care, all sorts of things that I may never need, but the idea is that it makes it expensive for the people who do, less expensive for the people who do need it. Unfortunately, the people who sort of fall on the short end of that stick tend to be young men, so that sucks. But on that note, so that's sort of where they're pointing at. So they're saying because he was on the side of the Hobby Lobby case, that was making the argument that Hobby Lobby as a private business has the right to make decisions about what benefits they provide their employees. That is not to say that and then on top of it, also in sort of cases where it talked about whether employers can fire at will employees that they may not necessarily have value conflicts with. So I think there was some issues with whether an employer can fire someone for their sexuality or something like that. So, and it's not necessarily that he says that specifically, yes, you can go discriminate people based on their sexuality, more than arguing sort of where people have rights over their property. So again, there is a huge difference in that versus saying I think people should discriminate people because of their sexuality, race, gender, etc. versus saying people have a right to make decisions about who they associate with and how their property is used. And then that's separate than sort of a moral statement. So again, you can disagree that people have have an absolute right over their property and say, okay, well, if you have a business, then basically the law should force you to serve everyone. You can take that position, but not taking that position doesn't necessarily mean you're racist. Okay, and I think that's a very disingenuous thing that the left often does when it comes to this discussion. So in that sense, Neil Gorsuch was taking a very specific point of view, a point of view that I'm super pro tolerance. Okay, anyone who knows me knows that. At the same day, I have the right to buy from whoever I want to buy from. So, for example, if I don't share the same values of a Chick-fil-A or a Hobby Lobby, I don't have to shop there. I can choose not to shop there if I'm buying things they serve. Okay, they can't go, well, you can't discriminate against us, so you have to shop here. Okay, so I'm just saying, if I have the right to buy and purchase things where I want, people should have the right to choose to sell to me if they want. And well, I hope that everyone would like to sell to me, and I would love to sell to everyone because, good business is to sell to as many people as possible. I don't think it should be compelled on people. But that's a very deep philosophical discussion, and not necessarily one that's I don't think it's an issue that's particularly relevant as far as things that have already been established. Things like the Civil Rights Act, and many other acts, they're not going to change anytime soon. I don't expect them to change anytime soon. And anyone who's looking to change those in the short run has really weird priorities, because there are a lot bigger issues that matter on the stake when it comes to things like the Fourth Amendment, okay, and the government's ability to basically look at your information and use different ways. And this is a place where Neil Gorsuch has been good. Okay, and the Fourth Amendment is something that has been sort of ignored when it comes to, you know, NSA surveillance and stuff like that. So having someone that's good on the Fourth Amendment, someone who's skeptical of executive power, especially with someone like Donald Trump in charge, and Neil Gorsuch has a record of showing skepticism towards executive power. Those are good things. Those are very good things that are very relevant to issues that are on the table right now. Okay? And I mean, again, going back to issues like discrimination, even Donald Trump announced recently that he is not going to change any of the LGBT protections that were put in place under Obama by executive order. So in that case, the point being is that that's not necessarily the direct issue. Now, immigration, yeah, that's an issue now. Okay, drone warfare, you have Donald Trump, who basically recently killed the 8-year-old daughter of Anwar al-Awlaki after Obama killed the 16-year-old son of Anwar al-Awlaki during his administration. You know, so to me, things like killing kids and building a border wall and very troubling things like that are a little bit more of I think a little bit more of a present danger at the moment. Far as things that are probably likely going to shift in a wrong direction in the short run. And those are things that ironically Neil Gorsuch might be actually good on, as far as restraining executive power and questioning the government's ability to just intrusively look at your information. So that's a very good thing. And again, this is not to denigrate any particular issue that's been brought up during this broadcast. It's just, again, there are certain issues that are sort of currently being molded for the future. And again, these issues that I'm mentioning right now are sort of front and center at the moment, versus other issues that may have been front and center pretty recently, but may not necessarily front and center in the short run, or doesn't look like necessarily there's going to be a big fight to be had on those issues right now. And on those particular issues, and the issues that are really pertinent right now, Neil Gorsuch is actually a really counterintuitive pick for Donald Trump. Because you think he'd pick someone who'd be less willing to challenge his power, and someone willing to challenge the ability for government to collect information and intrusively do investigations on you. Now, is Neil Gorsuch perfect? Not by any stretch of the imagination. You know, there's again, I would disagree with him on things like assisted suicide. He's against assisted suicide, but the bottom line is, when you take a look at how he's come to his decision in his court cases, he's made very clear and very constitutional arguments. It's not as much, he doesn't work necessarily as ideological as many other legal figures do. That's a good thing. He basically takes the job of basically interpreting the Constitution and forming an opinion. Fine. So, and yes, he is probably fairly similar to the justice he'd be replacing, Antonin Scalia, who was imperfect in many ways. But all of them are imperfect in many ways. So bottom line is he my ideal pick? Ideal world? No. Is he a lot better than I expected from Donald Trump? Yes. And so overall, I approve. This is not a unequivocal, I think Neil Gorsuch is awesome approval. It's just in the grand scheme of things, it's a somewhat moderate choice in the grand scheme of things, and actually a counterintuitive one. So those are my thoughts at the moment. And yeah, I'll see you guys on another video.